Hey guys, it's Retro Rose here, and welcome back to another Mushy Monday. We are picking up where we left off. We finished Grown Up, and now we're going to do a long day, which is another moments. And also, I wanted to give an update about our life now and forever. There has been a poll that took place in regards to whether or not we wanted it to be episodic or to be released all at once. So that information has come to light. Yeah, so pretty much it seems like with the poll, was just reading over some of the comments here, they're probably more than likely going to release it all at once instead of doing it episodically. There's kind of seem to be like a pull for it being episodic and for it not being episodic, so we'll see. But again, they're not going to go with episodic, so that's the whole point. So I'm still waiting for that. Can't wait to continue our life now and forever for you guys. I really enjoy it. But besides that, we're going to go ahead and continue with the long day. It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished one cup of water, you were already feeling it up again. Everyone else had something going on, so that afternoon it was just you and Shoal. This didn't happen much, especially since Cove had arrived. Without Lizzie around, Shoal looked at you for all the answers. It made you feel frustrated. He was always wanting to hear what you thought instead of giving his own opinion, and expected you to come up with plans. It was hard work, especially for such a hot day. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy cold and refreshing, something sweet, something like... I'm an ice cream cone girly. Nothing beats a classic creamy scoop of ice cream on a day like this. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your moms didn't keep sweets in the house. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained, but they were shops that demanded payment in exchange for their products. Yeah, I would probably voice it out loud. I want an ice cream cone. Shoal, who had been draping over the couch, perked up. That sounds good. We don't have anything like that in the house. I don't have any money. Oh, let me check if I have any. Shoal rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins plus one stray button. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1. You announced this to Shoal. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly. It's a start. Shoal beamed at you. We'll need to find some more. Okay. The two of you lifted couch cushions, stuck your tiny hands down the crevices in the sofa and under furniture, scouring for the back of the drawers. We used to do that too, especially when the ice cream truck we hear the ice cream truck rolling around. We would like go into the couches, under our beds, whatever we had piled up to try to find something, to try to find a few coins. And most of the time we would find something, or our parents would just give us a couple quarters. Most of what you found was useless or gross, been paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust, or sandy crumbs, but every so often one of you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. Dust and disheveled from checking every room, squinting into Dusty and disheveled from checking every room, squinting into every tiny nook, and the two of you finished pooling your finds. Shoal held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.53 and 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? You figured he knew the answer without looking at you for confirmation, but the thrill of your success and reward that would follow canceled out any other feeling you might have had about that. Yeah. You could now afford something at the shops, just one thing, but that was infinitely better than none. Shoal clapped his hands. Yay. The two of you dashed outside, promise of sugar bowled you on your destination where, breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just who had Let me take a drink. I think I'm talking like too fast. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed to the funds to get the treat. You seemed to notice your pause. He seemed to notice your pause. Aren't you getting an ice cream cone? Shoal asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shoal cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. Yeah, you try to get something you would both want anyway. It wasn't fair for you to be the only one to decide when he'd been a main factor in making this happen. Some of the money came directly from his backpack. What do you like? All of them. They're so good. You press further. But what do you really like? Popsicles or ice cream? Which is your favorite? Oh, it's hard to pick. I don't know. Frustrated, you cut to the heart of the matter. You want me to choose? Yeah. And that was that. You got dessert you wanted originally and hoped Shoal would actually like it. Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. You lapped at the soft ice cream and sweetness perked you up. You held it out to Shoal so that he could take a turn, and he shook his head.
Finish it.
What? You can finish it? He didn't want any? After everything he did to help to get it? That was weird. You tried to include Shoal. Even if Shoal said it was okay, every story you ever see on TV or read in a book said that sharing was caring. You stood your ground even as the treat started to trickle dangerously down your fingers. It's only fair that you have some. We both bought it. But you want it more than I do, and getting to play was a lot of fun already, so you can have it. That's more fair. You held it out to him. I want you to have some even more than I want to finish it, so eat your part. Relenting, Shoal took the first treat and gave it a taste. His eyes lit up. It's really good, thank you. You smiled, pleased with your good deed. You picked the best one. Did he mean that? Shoal was always nice no matter what happened. Even if he hated it, he knew he wouldn't say so. Maybe he thought it was gross and that was the real reason why he didn't want to take some. You had no idea. You studied him as he ate a little more, and he had every appearance of enjoying himself, still weird. The two of you began to head back home as he ate. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? Was it almost as if Shoal didn't know how to say what he felt, or was he too afraid? I think he just might not know how to express himself just yet, because I feel like a lot of kids at that age, we kind of tend to do that. We kind of just tend to follow certain people. So I don't know. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't know how to express himself yet. But I did find it very sweet of him to say, you wanted this more and I had fun just helping you get there. I thought that was very sweet. Are you scared of me? Shoal opened his eyes wide, seemingly caught off guard by the blunt question. No way. But you don't tell me things like what you want to do or what treats we should get. That's not because I'm scared, it's because you have better ideas than I do. Unfortunately, this was yet another thing you couldn't entirely believe Shoal on. You hoped it was true, but that he really did feel okay around you though. Shoal made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with just him. There had been good times and there had been confusing ones. You're positive in one thing, at least the treat was delicious and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon. As you returned to your neighborhood, you were spotted two very familiar figures up ahead, Lindsay and Cove. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. Why is my baby crying? Liz, what you do? Oh, she's upset too. You walk straight over and Shoal at your heels. Once you're there, you carefully asked about what happened. I mean, my first instinct was like, what did Lizzie do? Without a time machine, the only way you were going to find out was by asking the witnesses. Lindsay might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or even come to Cove's aid. You wanted to hear the story. Cove, what happened? I got yelled at. He took a deep, steady breath. Some grandparents got mad at me. Oh, sorry. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of the nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shoal knew to stay away from them. But Cove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them. But the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. It didn't matter if they were really nice, like, what was that one? Hold on. It didn't matter if they were really nice, like Cove. Okay. Yeah, Lindsay. Yeah, Lindsay said. Lindsay drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction. I was helping. That's cool. Is there anything I can do? No, I'm just gonna stay away. Or you could teach him a lesson. There was a devilish glint in her eyes. What? You should ding dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great because they're so slow. They'll never catch you. That's funny. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again.
You're just saying that because you're a chicken.
Cove glared but didn't take the bait. Lindsay turned to you. You're not a chicken, are you? I thought they deserved worse. I'm sorry. You scrunched up your nose in disgust as you shook your head. As pranks go, it was pretty weak. They would answer the door to find nothing there, so what? It would be sort of annoying, but they seem like the kind of people that would be irritated by about anything. If they were going to open the door, there should be something bad there. That would be letting them off easy. No. You felt 3 pairs of eyes staring at you, but you were studying your surroundings thoughtfully. There wasn't much around that they might dislike. Inspiration came crawling towards you in the form of a roly-poly bug. Carefully, you lower your hand and let it clamber into your palm. That should do it. You have never met an adult who appreciated bugs. Let's go ding dong ditch and bug them.
Yeah.
Well, go hide. Run as soon as you hit the bell. Good luck. Lindsay and Shoal ran across the road to take shelter in the bushes. Even once they settled down, you could make out 2 child-sized shapes staring from between the leaves. You knew where to look for them, though, and so you told yourself that the crouchy old people wouldn't spot it. Cove sighed, and his gaze flicked into the house, and then back at you. Don't let them catch you, okay? Be careful. I'll be quick as a flash. Cove glanced back before he could even reach the other side and stumbled as his foot caught on the sidewalk. He straightened up and looked back, smiled nervously at you before joining Lizzie and Shoal in their hideaway. The weight of 3 pairs of eyes on your back was heavier than anything you'd carried before as you approached the door. You stared down at the little bug, still wriggling in your closed hand, and carefully placed it on the ground where it could be seen. I guess wriggling? Yeah. But enough to the side it won't be stepped on. You slammed the buzzer and ran, blood thumping against your eardrums with every step which you make in time. Approaching the hiding spots, you knew there wasn't time to go around the bushes as the other ones had done. You took a shortcut leaping over them, but to be more accurate, crashing into the top of the bushes and then falling over the other side. Cove quietly hissed at you, unwittingly collided into him, but the way his arms were out, it seemed he had intentionally tried to cushion your landing. Shh. Lizzie put a finger to her lips and nodded at the house. You disentangled your limbs from Cove's and spun around to see the old man framed in the doorway, peering back and forth suspiciously. You covered your mouth with your hands, but it wasn't enough to stifle your giggles. Maybe he spotted one of you, or maybe it was the leaves you displaced while jumping. He locked eyes with the bush and stormed over in your direction. Shoal gasped, and Lizzie looked too. Run. Your sister did not hesitate to take your own advice. Neither did Shoal. You got up, but Cole seemed to struggle, extract himself, and stand up with just one fully functional arm. You gave him a hand and get to his feet. It wasn't your intention to run, still holding on to each other, but neither one of you remembered to let go. As you made your escape, you thought of yourself. He didn't even notice the bug. The old man hollers propelled you all from the streets of The old man's hollers propelled you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache in your legs. You flopped down and the blades of grass tickled your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. The 4 of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin.
Cove.
Hey, Cove. Cove lifted his head. I told you there were mean grandparents around here. Cove rolled his eyes and decided that this wasn't dismissive enough and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting with Shoal, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shoal once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. And it was fine, you thought. Shoal could prefer Lizzie as much as he wanted to. There was other things to attend to anyway. You wriggled closer to Cove. He had calmed down for the most part and was inspecting a flower. His fingers pinched the stem and tilted the white petals towards him. That's a poppy. He glanced at you in acknowledgement, then back at the flower. And the type of poppies on this hill have the name White Lilian Poppy, Mom told me. He quirked a smile. That's funny. He ran a finger through the edge of the petals. It doesn't feel like a cloth. You need a lot of them to make anything. He nodded and released the delicate plant. Evaluation complete. This is my favorite kind of flower, but I didn't know that is what it was called. Thank you. Oh. I like roses. They smell really nice. Those are fancy flowers. You look good with them. Why? Because you just would. Oh, he stopped the conversation there, suddenly shy. You moved onto your back with a small smile and looked at the darkening sky. The blanket of clouds reminds you of a thick throw you curled under on the cold, rainy days. You wonder if the clouds would be as soft. They lazily floated by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes. I will say I saw a dolphin because I saw a dolphin the other day in the clouds. I saw a dolphin leaping through the sky. You nudged Cove and pointed to it. Look, a dolphin. Cove joined you in gazing skyward. Yeah, I see it. Really? No, but I like dolphins. Hey, he chuckled at your reaction. This is so cute. All the sunlight had faded from the sky and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strands of grass from her bare legs, and surveyed her surroundings. The ocean, visible from the crest of the hill, beckoned with every sweep of the tide. Let's go to the beach. There was no argument from the other two. Shoal, still Shoal, and Cove would never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You wanted to go there too. You were so eager to join the others in descending the hill down to the water. You stepped onto the sand for the second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sandcastles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indications of how busy it had been only hours earlier. The four of you kicked shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water's edge, and waves tickled your feet. I wonder what would have happened if you tried to take a bath in the ocean with shampoo and everything. That would be bad for the fish. I didn't say anyone would do it, geez. But you don't have to be serious about everything. You're the one who asked what would happen. That is what would happen. It hurts the fishies. I like bubble baths at home. They're a lot of fun. Me too. Bubble baths are luxuries. You've never heard Lizzie. I said Lindsay. Lizzie used that word before. Mommy loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the light off and have candles going. I'm going to do that next time. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway? Not for a while. She's busy. What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does. Yeah, don't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about? You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed by waves. Even if Shoal never seemed upset when the topic came up, it made you feel awkward just for having both moms. It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Rose. I don't have a dad, but I don't have two moms. I just have one. She's really great. Oh, sorry. I only have one now. It's two. My mom isn't here. She's back home. It's just me with my dad. I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad. It's really sad that your mom is gone. Cove nodded. Even If they're all different, our parents are good in their own ways. Yeah. Cove didn't muster a response. You don't think he truly disagreed, though. The silence broke with a splash as Lindsay kicked her feet in your direction. Cold water and salt and sand splattered against your legs. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Cove joined in, striking the incoming waves to make a splash of his own. Shoal scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin. Retaliated. You used your foot to smack the water pool around you and sending an arch of sea foam flying back onto your sister. You laughed as she spluttered some of the salty sea water having landed in her mouth. She spat it out. Ew. Lizzie chased you, intended on revenge. You dashed up and down the coast, taking turns to be the predator and the prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shoal or Cove. Alliances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game in war. Shoal's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, caused him to fall face first onto the ground. That would have been bad enough without the wave that followed, cascading over his prone body. Oh no! Shoal sat up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain. As you all hurried over to check on him, his hair was plastered to his head and his soaked clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it. That was crazy. Are you okay? Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over. Way to go. You offer him some help. Shoal didn't take your outstretched hands. After a moment, you dropped it. Is he too busy snickering to notice and held her hand out to Shoal too? He reached out and took it. Slowly, he started to pull himself from the ground. He then slipped on the thick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them. Oh, what were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low, but there was no way Shoal would do something like that on purpose and pretend it was an accident, especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shoal felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shoal got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Cove laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. The four of you made the journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as the cool breeze flowed past. Oh, there are moms. Your moms were outside chatting to Cove's dad. We're back. Your mom's faces fell as they took in the state you were in, ranging from messy to soaked. Elizabeth, is that all you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you. They certainly did. What's Miracle going to do when she comes to get Shoal? This is how you want him to be for the long drive home, cold and filthy? This expression turned sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but it also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something went wrong. Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled as he rifled Cove's matted hair. You've been out making memories, bucko. I'm glad you had a good time with your friends. Cove used his slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened when he noticed that he had gotten wet. Now he was worried too. I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and just have fun. Just had as much fun. That might have been right, kids. What can you do? Come on, Cove. Let's get you cleaned up and dried off. We wouldn't want your cast. We wouldn't want that cast to have to be reset. Cove winced at the thought. Okay, that a boy. Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove up off the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Sand was already transferring from Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Cove protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back from his troubles.
Take care.
Good night, Cove. Thank you for the talk, Cliff. Night, Smith family and Shoal too. Resigned to his fate, Cove twisted his body in his dad's arms in order to turn around and wave goodbye. Smiling, you waved back. Good night. Well, We gotta do what we can to fix you guys up too. Come on, everybody inside. I want to march straight to downstairs bathroom. Okay. Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet at the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight. Sitting on the old beach towel your mom had found, you waited in the hall until you were less sandy. You weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house, but you didn't get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shoal would wash first, borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Miss Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without that hat for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go to the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath as she had hoped. This was a no fun allowed cleanup session. At least that's what she claimed. Not much longer and it would be your turn. When the bath was done, you'd had to go right to bed. After a day like this, though, you were glad there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a great idea. Oh, okay, so that was a long day. That was really cute. I don't get to play on the beaches often. The last time I played on the beach was probably like in high school, like when I graduated freshman year. Because for me, I used to sit on the beach and like watch the little fish that would come by, like down in Florida. So it's always fun to be on the beach, but you have to be prepared to make sure you got extra clothes. But unfortunately, our gang here didn't. But yeah, thank you for joining me on this Mushy Monday, and I'll catch you next Monday for Sandcastle. So, bye.